This video was brought to you by Brilliant. Today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy claims there are 50,000 Russian troops in Kursk. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman claims that Israel is perpetrating a genocide in Gaza, and France has announced that they will deploy 4,000 troops to a France versus Israel UEFA Nations League match. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Tuesday the 12th of November 2024. Over in Ukraine, it's been reported this morning that Russia may have lost a record number of soldiers in a single day yesterday. This is according to Ukrainian intelligence, who have stated that around 1,950 Russian troops were either killed or injured on Monday. They made this statement alongside footage of Russian armoured vehicles being destroyed. This comes on top of a separate statement by the Ukrainian president in which he claimed that Russia had deployed around 50,000 troops to the Kursk region. This is up from just 11,000 when Ukraine first launched their attack in the region, as part of their counteroffensive back in August. Forbes reports that these troops are being supported by North Korean reinforcements. They added that these soldiers appear to be hurling themselves at Ukrainian positions in the Kursk Oblast, with this demonstrating just how determined the Russians are to remove the Ukrainians from their territory. It seems that the Kremlin is willing to accept huge losses of life in order to retake the region. Ukraine is definitely outnumbered and outgunned in the region though, and fighting remains intense. But President Zelenskyy added that, as things stand, his Ukrainian troops are managing to hold them back. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Janos Shalkanciu, then consider joining the TLDR daily membership program for just $1.99. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, widely known as MBS, has delivered his strongest condemnation of Israel to date, labeling its actions in Gaza as genocide. Addressing a summit attended by Muslim and Arab leaders, MBS was joined by fellow leaders in demanding a complete Israeli withdrawal from both the West Bank and Gaza. They also criticized Israel's military actions against Lebanon and Iran. In a notable development suggesting a thaw in relations between Riyadh and Tehran, MBS cautioned Israel against any military strikes on Iran. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister highlighted the failure of the international community to halt Israel's ongoing conflict in Gaza. He urged Israel to stop further acts of aggression and called for global recognition of Palestinian statehood. Additionally, Arab leaders denounced attempts to solidify Israeli control over East Jerusalem, which they referred to as the eternal capital of the Palestinian territories. They called for the unification of the Israeli-occupied West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem under a Palestinian state. This summit follows a similar gathering last year in Riyadh involving the Cairo-based Arab League and the Jeddah-based Organization of Islamic Cooperation, during which leaders condemned Israeli actions in Gaza as barbaric. But despite their unified statements, Arab leaders have struggled to reach a consensus on specific actions against Israel, such as cutting economic and diplomatic ties or disrupting its oil supplies. France will deploy 4,000 police officers and 1,600 stadium staff to the national stadium, the Stade de France, in Paris on Thursday, ahead of a France versus Israel UEFA Nations League football match. It comes after violence between Maccabi Tel Aviv fans and pro-Palestine supporters broke out in Amsterdam last week, sparking days of tensions that have now led the Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof to cancel his trip to COP29. France's President Emmanuel Macron will also be present at the game, with the Élysée saying that Macron's appearance will show fraternity and solidarity with Jewish fans, following the intolerable acts of anti-Semitism that followed the recent match in Amsterdam. Dutch authorities are currently investigating how Israeli football hooliganism, anti-Semitism, and intercommunal tensions led to the violence last week, with the city's police chief, Peter Holler, saying there had been incidents on both sides. Moving to the US now, where President-elect Donald Trump is continuing his preparations to enter the White House in January. As part of this, Trump has already handed a number of his close allies key positions in his administration. For example, Susie Wiles, who is seen as one of the main architects of Trump's political comeback, has been made his chief of staff. Additionally, Tom Homan, who served in the first Trump administration as the head of US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, will serve as Trump's border czar. This comes following Trump's promise to carry out the largest deportation operation in US history. Elise Stefanik, a Republican congresswoman for 10 years and ardent Trump supporter, will serve as the US's ambassador to the United Nations. Stefanik has a reputation as being a very strong opponent of the United Nations. Stephen Miller, who worked in Trump's first administration as a lead speechwriter, has seemingly been announced by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance as the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Previously, Miller had been a key advocate for more restrictions on immigration policy. In fact, only last month, Miller claimed at a Trump campaign rally that America is for Americans and Americans only. And finally, Lee Zeldin has been appointed as the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, despite having no environmental experience. Zeldin has, though, promised to support Trump's plan to deregulate approvals of energy extraction and cut down on regulatory red tape. We'll keep you updated on any further Trump appointments in the weeks and months ahead. Back here to the UK now, where one of the most senior figures in the church is under huge pressure to resign his post. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has been accused of failing to inform police as soon as he heard about a serial physical and sexual abuser who volunteered at Christian summer camps. On Thursday, the church released the results of an independent review into John Smith, who psychologically and physically abused 30 boys and young men in the UK and 85 in South Africa over 5 decades. It was this report that criticised Welby for his lack of action. Back in 2019, Welby claimed that he was unaware of the severity of the crimes committed by Smith. Some victims have claimed that Welby was not telling the truth, and that the report contains evidence that enough was known for Welby to raise concerns back in 2013. Speaking about this, Andy Morse, one of Smith's victims, has claimed, "I don't believe he, Welby, was telling the truth. I'm not sure that he would have had knowledge of the detail, but I think he would have had knowledge of the summary." As things stand, Welby is still the Archbishop of Canterbury, although the pressure for him to resign is increasing day by day. And our final story for today is that a team of astronomers have discovered a supermassive black hole that appears to be consuming matter at more than 40 times the theoretical limit. Analysing data from the James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST, and the Chandra X-ray Observatory, a team led by astronomer Hye-Won So discovered the black hole, named LID 568, and published the research in the journal Nature Astronomy last week. For context, supermassive black holes exist at the centre of most galaxies, and modern telescopes continue to observe them at surprisingly early periods in the evolution of the universe. Scientists are still trying to understand how they were able to grow so rapidly. Current theories suggest that supermassive black holes grow from smaller black hole seeds, which themselves arise from either the death of the universe's first stars, light seeds, or the direct collapse of gas clouds, heavy seeds. But until the discovery of LID 568, these theories lacked observational confirmation. Lead astronomer So said, "The discovery of a super-Eddington-accreting black hole suggests that a significant portion of mass growth can occur during a single episode of rapid feeding, regardless of whether the black hole originated from a light or heavy seed. This means it's possible that the powerful outflows of gas observed in LID 568 may be acting as a release valve for the excess energy generated by the extreme accretion, preventing the system from becoming too unstable." So said this opens up exciting avenues for investigation, and the team is now planning further follow-up observations with JWST. Now, as a TLDR viewer, it's clear that you have a thirst for learning. After all, why else would you have watched a 5-story video explaining the day's news? Now, if you want to continue your learning journey, you should really check out Brilliant. Brilliant is the online learning platform where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in maths, data analysis, programming, and AI. These hands-on lessons have you comparing circuits to understand voltage and current, playing snooker to learn the rules of collision, planning your itinerary for an intergalactic music festival on a space-time diagram, and more. That way, you'll build up your natural intuition while gaining deep knowledge of scientific principles. In fact, Brilliant actually recently launched tons of new data science content, all of which uses real-world data to help you see trends and make better informed decisions. And don't worry, you don't need to be a world-renowned scientist to understand these courses either. Brilliant's courses are designed for learners of any level. So to find out more and to try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/TLDR or click the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thanks for your support, and thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video.